welcome. My name is JesseMcDesign. Today we're going to be turning this pumpkin into a creepy little character. Let's get started. Alright, so every year I try to carve a pumpkin in not in the traditional sense where you gut it and everything and, you know, carve it out so the light shines through. I like to do something a little more difficult, but it satisfies me more, is to do like the 3D realistic kind of carving stuff that people do. So I put up a little poll type post the other day, about a day or two ago, asking just for some random suggestions. A lot of people came up with pretty traditional characters, you know, Leatherface, bats, witches, pirates, and for some reason a couple people said Stitch. I don't know if there is like a new movie out that everyone's clinging to, but I decided to go with Chucky. I'll post up my reference here. I tend to look for a 3D rendering type deal that's just like all one color. It's easy to see shadows and shape and everything. So I was lucky enough to find this photo, and that's what I'm going to be using as my reference to carve this pumpkin. Now, a quick process of how I would normally do this is I have my iPad right here. You can't really, it's just off screen. That's going to be my reference photo. I'm going to start off by sketching the face onto the front of the pumpkin, which is going to be this. This backside's a little flat, so this will work nice. This is a good shape for Chucky as well. I tend to look, this is a pumpkin I had just sitting outside, but I tend to try to find a reference first, and then I'll try to find a pumpkin to fit it. You know, sometimes if you want to do like a Frankenstein, is usually like a longer, skinnier type deal. You know, he has like that long head. So I just try to find something that fits roughly the shape of what I'm trying to do. And we'll do a quick sketch on here, and then after we're happy with how our sketch came out, we'll go in and just start carving out chunks and just developing a rough shape and getting most of the hide off, because this is really hard and traditional carving stuff doesn't really work. So I'll try to get most of this off of at least the face. I want to try and keep it for the hair, since, you know, Chucky's hair is normally orange. So I think that'll also work out really well. And for a quick tip on tools that I normally use, I'm not really sure what these are from exactly. I think they're like clay carving tools. It's just like a little thin piece of metal that you can kind of carve with. Again, these don't really work for the hide bit. I'm gonna have to carve away that first, but this will work on the inside portions, and these work really well for that. But to carve out most of this, what I will use is wood carving tools, which are simple little, basically chisels of different shapes. This one's more of a knife. This is like a nicer flat, and then this one has a little half round. And I have an assortment of those in here. I'll also have just a traditional shaper. Again, this is like a clay type tool, but I'll be able to get in like some extra detail, you know, making wrinkles in the face or stuff like that, being able to just smooth out a little of what I did with all these more rougher tools. So with all that being said, we're gonna hop onto this. We're gonna pop up our reference and start doing our sketch, and then I'll probably start roughly chunking out some of this, and then we'll come back and see how we're feeling. All right, so we have about an hour or so into this so far. You can kind of see it's starting to take shape. It might look a little weird to you right now, but we're getting there. The thing about something like this is it's a subtractive sculpting. Like if we were doing like a wood sculpture or like carving out marble or something, you're taking away material and you can't really put it back on like you would like clay or something. So I tend to go a little slow because I don't really want to ruin where the certain features are. I like how it looks. It's pretty close to the reference, you know, I just freehand it, you saw me do it. And I'm just slowly going in and just carving out the deep areas and just going deeper and deeper. If you look around, the eyes is a good example. The eyes will be sunken in obviously, but I want to go in and carve around, you know, the outer edge or like next to the nose area where it's even farther in than the eye, right? So it's just slowly working those areas and working and working and working. And once we get a little bit closer and we get the rest of these little outer skin pieces carved away, it'll be a lot easier to go in with my little wire tool and just shape and carve and do a lot of the real finer detail work when it comes to all that. So we're gonna just plug away, put on another podcast for about another hour, an hour and a half or so, and see what we can get to in that amount of time. All right, so we got about another hour, hour and a half into this. It's getting a lot closer. You can see I got all the skin off of pretty much everything we're working with, except for, you know, the hair bits, and you can kind of see you got a little bit of texture going on in there just to make it look a little more like hair. There's the scars in his face, and these little weird bits of hair are attached, or they have staples in them, and these are like attached by staples, I assume. And there's like scars with staples. I think once I get to that point, I'm gonna put actual staples in there just to make it look that more realistic. But we're getting pretty close. It's starting to actually look like him. Again, just going deeper and deeper and deeper and making this look more and more realistic. I don't really know how thick this stuff is. I suppose I could find some sort of poker and try and poke in there and see how far I've got to go. But the only real thing that's kind of annoying about that is, you know, the nose kind of gets smooshed a little bit, but from straight on you can't tell that much. So that's kind of where I'm at, is trying to work out getting that nose a little bit more pronounced and a little bit more realistic, and then, you know, again, just moving all these features in a little bit. So I'm gonna give it, I don't know, we'll see, probably another hour, hour and a half, and I think it'll be pretty much finished. I'll add a little bit more detail to the hair. Again, you can't really see, but there is some texture going on there. So right now I'm gonna hop in and finish this ear, finish texturing this hair a little bit better, making it look a little bit nicer, and then I'll do a little pokey trick and see if that'll help me see how far farther I can go, and we'll get the final details going, and, you know, those final little staples pieces, and see how we're looking. Alright, so there you have it. It went pretty well. I like the little details of the staples and everything. It looks, I like to do that just to, you know, give it a little extra realism. I've done like nails into things and like weird little stringy bits to kind of look like stitching and stuff. So like those little extra details, that brings it out a little bit more. I'm pretty happy, you know, it looks like Chucky, I think. As far as the depth, you can kind of see, you know, how I was talking, his nose is kind of flat and everything. But other than that, I think it looks really, really good. And like I was saying at the beginning, it's just, I don't want to go too far and poke through and then making it weak, and you know, it's just one of those things. It's hard to tell exactly where you're at, and you don't want to like ruin it if by going too far. Who knows what would happen. I always tend to leave it up at about this stage. I've never really gone in farther than that, really. I also decided to put him on this little pedestal guy. This is exactly what this was made for. I got this a couple of years ago. I normally put one of my faux pumpkins with a carved out face on it during, you know, the rest of this season when I don't have pumpkins, or after this guy eventually rots out, I'll put a normal pumpkin on there. But you know, this thing's perfect, especially for a Chucky character. You know, just like a little guy with a creepy little face. But I'll end up putting this out onto like my probably not my front steps, because I don't want this stolen or him to get smashed immediately. But I'll probably just put him just inside my screen door. I have a very small little front porch type area. I'll probably put him in there so, you know, the mailman or whoever walks past can see him. Who knows, maybe I'll do another one. I still have a couple days before Halloween, I believe. It's currently the 25th, so 6 days. Maybe I can get another pumpkin and do another one. It only takes a few hours. This was roughly three and a half hours from beginning to end. So who knows? If you want to see me do another one, leave it in the comments below. But if you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up, it really helps. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe. I'm always over here doing some sort of creative thing like this, or doing art, furniture, home decor type things. Who knows? Leave in the comments below what I should do next. See you on the next one.